Welcome, everyone. I'm Professor Joanne Ordilli from the Rutgers Business School, and this is Tech for Business. In this video, I will show you how to install MySQL on Windows. If you have a Mac instead, check out the description. You'll find a link there to my video on installing MySQL on Macs. Before we go further, I would like to congratulate you for your interest in MySQL. Here I have a ranking of the most popular database systems from dbengines.com. As you can see, MySQL is the most popular open source relational database system. That means two things to you. First, knowledge of MySQL is a marketable skill. And second, MySQL has a proven track record of success in a variety of application areas. It's very likely that there are applications in the space that you're considering already that show whatever you're thinking about doing with MySQL is entirely possible and will likely be successful. Before we go about installing MySQL, I want to talk a little bit about the database architecture that it has. MySQL has a client-server architecture. This is by far the most popular of the database architectures. Many database systems use this approach. In this architecture, there's a server that stores the data and processes the data. That's called the database server. And there are a series of clients that users or programs can use to interact with the database server. So a very common way to use this database server in this picture is for a user to enter a question to a client. The client then forwards that question across the network to the database server. The database server looks through the data and finds the answer to the question, and then returns that answer to the client. This means that each client can run on the laptop of the user who's using it. And the database server then is somewhere off in the network in a different place. This is typically the way that large companies run their database systems. However, if you're a student or a small company or a developer, there are advantages to running both the server and the client on your laptop. For one thing, it's simpler. And so this is what we're doing here today. We will be installing the MySQL database server and MySQL Workbench on your laptop. When we talk about database clients, there could be more than one kind of client, and MySQL is a very good example of that. So here we have the MySQL database server, and we have 4 different clients. The first 3 clients here are distributed by the MySQL development community. And the 4th client represents the large space of third-party clients to MySQL. So the 4th client here is TABLEAU Desktop. TABLEAU is a popular piece of software for visualizing data. And TABLEAU Desktop is a client of MySQL database server. It goes to MySQL database server to retrieve data, and then it will graph that data for you. In the description, you will find a link to a video that shows you how to install TABLEAU Desktop and integrate it with MySQL Server so you can dynamically pull data from the server and visualize it. The first three clients, all provided by the MySQL development community, are the MySQL command line interpreter, which is a program you run, and then after you run the program, you type SQL commands in, and the client forwards those to the server and displays the answers to you. MySQL Workbench is a graphical user interface that facilitates exploring the data and analyzing it. And MySQL Shell is a programming environment that is used with a programming language like Python to interact with the MySQL database server. Here in the slides, we have a link to the documentation for each of these clients. And in the description for this video, you will find a link to this presentation. So you can download the presentation and then follow any of the links in it. So let's get started on our installation journey. The first important thing to know is that whenever you're installing MySQL Server, you need to install a compatible version of MySQL Workbench. And right now, MySQL Workbench is only compatible with MySQL Server versions 8.0 point something. There are more recent versions of MySQL Server, and MySQL Workbench is not compatible with those. So you need to be sure, since our plan is to install both the server and the workbench, to install a server in the 8.0.x line. Much time may have passed since I created this video and you decided to listen to it. So in that case, you might go to this link and check on what is the most recent version of MySQL Server that is supported by MySQL Workbench, just in case things have changed since I created the video. Now we want to talk about installing MySQL Server on Windows. I have a couple slides here that summarize what I think are the primary gotchas to watch out for. And then we'll go step by step and install MySQL Server and MySQL Workbench here on Windows. So the first thing is that when you get onto the downloads page, as you'll see in a minute, there may be several different options presented to you. It's very important that you choose to install with the MSI installer. You might see tar files there or zip files. These files are provided to people who would like to do development on MySQL Server or MySQL Workbench. I'm assuming you're here because you want the quickest path to getting everything running, and by far the MSI installer is that path. After you start the installer, you may end up with a check requirements page. So if you look over here at this example, what happens when you get a check requirements page is that there's something missing from your system that the installation requires. So if you look over here, MySQL Workbench here requires Microsoft Visual C++, and it's not available. It's not available on the laptop. And similarly for MySQL utilities. However, if you look under status, you'll see that the status is blank. This means that the installer knows how to install these things. And so if you have all blank status with missing requirements, you can just hit execute and everything will work out. However, if you get a line like this, where it says, well, for the connector for Python, I need Python 3.4, which is not available, and the status is manual, that means you need to go and find Python and install it before you proceed with this installation. Now, maybe when you configured your installation, you hit the button that said install everything related to MySQL. And then you get to this page and you get this connector for Python error. And you know that you are never going to use Python with MySQL. In that case, you can skip installing Python and just hit execute, and the installation will skip installing the connector, but it will install the other stuff. So you will still be successful. And lastly, and most importantly, you must remember your MySQL Server root password. The installation will ask you to set it. Remember it. If you forget it and can therefore not access your MySQL Server, there's very little I can do to help you. I've tried to help several students in this area. So the best thing is to remember the password. This slide should be sufficient to get you through the installation, but there are occasionally a couple blips that come up, and I just thought I'd mention them in advance. A blip that you might have is you might get a path conflicts page. This generally means that you previously installed MySQL Server and it's not completely removed. So there's still parts of it hanging out. So your best bet, if you get the selected path already exists, is to make sure that MySQL is totally uninstalled and then restart or continue this installation. Okay. So that's the second slide here, which you could refer to if you ever have this kind of trouble. And the second slide is how do you get rid of MySQL if you have it? Well, to get rid of it, first you have to turn the server off, and that requires going to the services page as an administrator and then choosing over here, stop after highlighting MySQL 80 or whatever the name of the MySQL server is. After you turn the server off, then you can go to settings for installed apps, and you can go through each of the menus for any MySQL component that's installed and pick uninstalled. This will generally get rid of most stuff, but you still might find yourself in this, in this funny situation here. And so if, even after doing that, you get this path conflict, just copy the name of this directory, put it in the file browser, and go to it, and then back up one level so that you're really at, for example, MySQL here instead of MySQL Server 8.0. And then just delete that folder or directory. And after that, you should be able to proceed successfully with the installation. So let's get to it. We want to install MySQL Server and MySQL Workbench. And our first step here is to go get the installer. So I bring up the browser and I put MySQL Community Server into the search engine. And then what you're looking for is the MySQL Developer Zone download of the MySQL Community Server. So we'll click on that. And here we are. It knows that I'm running on Windows, but it says I'm going to give you version 9.0.1 innovation. And I just told you that's not going to work with MySQL Workbench. And so I'm going to choose 8.0.39 here. There are 3 development paths going on here. And so just so you know, the innovation path is the newest and greatest stuff that's in MySQL Server. That's for developers. so that they can get a jump on what's new and upcoming and have their third-party software ready to use it. When that version of MySQL becomes an LTS release. An LTS release is a long-term support release. And it happens right now that there is not yet a MySQL Workbench for 8.4. The most recent one is 8.0. So we're going to choose 8.0.39 here. And if we look a little bit further down, we'll see zip archives. I warned you against them. Okay. But up here, you'll see MySQL Installer MSI. That's what we want to download. So we're going to go to the download page. And when we get to the download page, we will have two choices. The first choice is 2.1 megabytes, and the second choice is 303.6 megabytes. What's the difference? The difference is that the first one downloads the minimal it needs to start the installation, and then it downloads the other parts of the installation as it goes along. The second one downloads everything it needs for the basic installation, except for missing requirements, and then it does the install. So I typically choose the second one. When you click on the second one, you'll get this ability to create or log into an Oracle account, but it's not required. So you can just say, no thanks, just start my download. And you'll see that my download has started here. And I downloaded it earlier, so you'll see that that's there too. While we're waiting for the download, I want to go back a page and mention this to you. You'll see that under each of these installers, there's something called an MD5, and it has this big long string, which is basically a number in hexadecimal. This is called a digital signature. It's here so that after you do the download of the installer, you can check its validity. Did it transfer correctly? Did anyone sneak in, suspicious stuff into the installer while someone wasn't looking? So you can check all that by calculating the MD5 number for what you downloaded and comparing it to this. I'm going to skip that step. If you're interested in doing that step, just Google MD5 checksum for Windows and follow the instructions. Okay, let's see how we're doing. We're all done. We have our installer, so let's install MySQL. The nice thing about the Windows installer is that it includes both MySQL Server and MySQL Workbench, so you can install everything in one shot. When it comes up here, you have several choices. Only the server, only the client, full, which installs everything, and custom. I'm going to choose custom because I can then limit the installation to just what I need and it will go faster. So I'll choose custom and go to next. And now I need a server. So I open this up and I pick a server. Okay. Then I picked the top one because it's the most recent one and that's the best thing to choose. Next, I need a MySQL Workbench, which is an application or a client. So I'm going to open MySQL Workbench and pick the topmost one and add that. I don't need MySQL Shell. I'm not doing any programming language stuff. I don't need MySQL Router, which involves more complex server installations. But I would like some documentation. I can access it from MySQL Workbench, so I'll take the most recent documentation. And it's really awesome to have the samples and examples because it gives you something to work with until you build your own database systems, database tables. So I'm going to add that. And I'm going to click next. Okay, so I didn't get a requirements missing kind of page here. I got, I'm ready to install these four things, everything's set. And so all I have to do is say, great, execute. And now it'll go through and it'll check them off as it installs them. This can sometimes take a little bit of time. And so if it looks like things are going pretty slowly, I will pause and then resume the video. However, it looks like we're doing pretty well here. Okay, so we're all done. That didn't take too long. And now we're not quite completely done with the installation yet because we have some configuration to do. So when we hit next, it says, hey, I need to configure the server and the samples and examples. And so we'll say next, maybe. And we have some questions to answer. It turns out that it's just fine to choose these defaults. When we pick our configuration type to be a development computer, that basically tells it that we're not installing a production server. And since I'm imagining that most of you are here to learn about MySQL, I think that's fine. Oops. Next, this is the way that we communicate with the server using what is a standard port number or address component. So that's all fine. And of course, we want to go through the Windows firewall to get there. So all that's great. So you can just take all the defaults on this page, go to the next page. We want to use the suggested form of password encryption for authentication. So that's great. And now we need to specify that root account password that you must remember. So this is not the root account password for your laptop. This is a special one you're making up for MySQL Server. Whether you want it to be the same or not is really up to you. Okay, so I set mine. In the series of videos I'm going to do for you, I will be using this root account at first to give you a better sense of what all the databases are that are available on the server and to eliminate the need to deal with security issues. However, you would never want to run a database server and access it regularly with the root account. So if you are a sophisticated user who understands root accounts and how privileged they are, then you could right now add a user account with limited privileges. Or immediately after the installation, you could go into MySQL Workbench and find the Users and Roles tab and add that special user account with limited privileges and then use that. Later in the series, there will be a video about security, which will explain how to make your database server and your account access more secure. And this would be important, for example, if you're using MySQL for a small business. Okay, so we're just going to let that go for now. And then these defaults are all good as well. You definitely want Windows to start the MySQL server as system startup. Okay, so we're just going to take these and we're going to take this as well. Now it says, hey, I'm ready. These are the things I'm going to do. You click execute and it checks them off as it does them. Okay, now we might think we're finished, but we're just finished configuring the server. We still need to configure samples and examples here, so let's do that. So in order to configure samples and examples, we basically have to install them on our database server. And for that, this installer wants the password for the root account on the database server. So we're going to check that we typed it in correctly and then say next. These are the two things it's going to do. When we execute, it does them, and now we are finished. All of our configuration is complete. If we say next, it says, hey, everything's finished. Would you like to start MySQL Workbench after setup? Absolutely, because we want to check that it worked. So let's say finish. Here's MySQL Workbench. And here's a little gray box. Generally, you'll always have this little gray box. This little gray box will connect to the server on the local host, which is on the same laptop as you're running MySQL Workbench. So you click on this. It asks you for the root password because it's configured for root. So you enter that. And you could save the password in the vault. There are advantages and disadvantages to this. If you save the password in the vault, then you should always be able to get through MySQL Workbench to MySQL Server, even if you forget the password. But the fact that you never have to type it in might make it more likely that you'll forget the password. So it's up to you. I'm going to skip it for now and say, okay. And now this is MySQL Workbench's interface. There'll be other videos on how to use this, but we do want to do a quick check to make sure everything is working. So over here in this upper corner, you want to click on the Schemas tab if schemas are not currently showing. And you should see Sequela, Sys, and World. These are 3 different databases. First thing to know is that Sys is the database that the database server uses to manage everything. You never want to change that. So don't ever go there. It would be my suggestion. But Sequela and World are 2 database systems, 2 databases that are provided so that you can explore and experiment. So let's open Sequela, and then we'll open the tables that are in Sequela. We'll go down to Film and come all the way over here to the square and click it. So this runs a query and shows you a bunch of data. So this confirms pretty authoritatively that everything is set up and that MySQL Workbench can communicate with MySQL Server successfully. So we're done. Congratulations. You have installed MySQL Server and Workbench on your Windows laptop. So if this has been helpful for you, please take a minute to like the video so other people will more likely find it when they need this kind of help. And consider subscribing so that you'll be notified of the additional videos that are coming, including a tour of MySQL Workbench and how to use it. Thanks for joining me, and see you next time.